Hello traders, Rich here and welcome to a new educational video. Since you guys liked my previous 6 videos about how to analyze any chart from scratch, I've decided to make a new one. And as per your request, today we are going over NI225, which is a Japanese index. Of course, you can request any instrument in the comment section below. And if you like video analysis, smash the like button and subscribe for more. And of course, for those who didn't watch the previous 6 videos yet, I've put them all into one playlist and I'll include the link in the description below. So let's get started. As usual, cheers. So first of all, for those who know me know that we always start from where? From the daily and weekly time frames to know where we stand in the market. Are we overall bullish? Obviously like here. Are we overall bearish? Obviously like here. Or are we stuck inside a range? When we are overall bullish, we'll be waiting for the corrective movement to catch the next impulse. When we are overall bearish, we're waiting for the corrective movement, of course, again, to catch the next impulse down. If you are inside a range, then we'll be trading the range up, down. So we'll be looking for sell setups here on lower time frames and buy setups here on lower time frames until eventually the price breaks this range downward or upward, right? Anyway, let's now remove the drawings and do the actual analysis. So first of all, we start from the weekly time frame zoomed out, right? And we draw our support and resistance. So the way to do it, as I told you before, the trick is to draw a random line on your chart and drag and drop it in a way to connect as many swings as possible. So as you can see here, we can't connect any swings, while here we can connect 1, 2, and 3, right? And always remember, it's an entire zone and not a laser line. So this one, you should treat it like this zone. But I personally like to draw it as a level to make the chart clean. So now we can see that it's a very, very strong support and resistance area. So we'll keep it. And then we'll continue and draw a new one and drag and drop it to connect as many swings as possible, right? So we can clearly see that we've got a rejection here many times, 1, 2, and 3, right? Actually, it's a very, very strong one. And of course, always go for the clear big swings and don't go for these ones which are very, very small, right? So it's an entire swing. This is a swing and not these. These are not full swings. So now we have this one also. And let's continue. We can go and that's it. We've got a very, very strong one here. As you can see, as you can see, 1, 2, 3. Right. So anyway, I'll not draw the remaining ones because we will not need it. The price is currently here, but you've got the idea. Then we try to see where we are in the market in terms of round numbers. So it depends on the case. It's different for every chart. And as you can see here, it's trading between where and where? Between 10K and 30K, right? So the strongest round numbers are where? 10, obviously. And of course, you will optimize it to be 10. Anyway, I will do it. 20, of course. And look, it happens that it's also a typical support and resistance area, right? And of course, we'll optimize it. But anyway, it's an entire zone. But the 20K round number will add strength to this support and resistance, right? So it's an entire area like this, as mentioned before. Next, we have, and as you can see here, we have already a support and resistance, but let's see, it's around the 25K, right? Which is also a round number, but not as strong as the 10 and 20. And as you can see here, we have a typical support and resistance that's also around what? The 15K. It happens that the support and resistance areas are also strong round numbers. And of course, it's this entire area from here till here. Okay, but anyway, I make it a little bit lower to give us some space, but we know actually that this is a zone and not a laser level. Okay, anyway, now we are done with our round numbers and support and resistance. Next, we'll go for what? We'll go for trend lines. We want to know where is the overall movement, correct? So now we can clearly see that we are overall bullish. We already know that we don't need a market structure or an indicator to tell us that. So we just want to draw the upper and lower bound. So we want to know between where and where the price is trading. It's like it's trading inside a range, right? And this is the upper one, sorry, the wrong button. So this is the upper one and this is the lower one. So we want to know where is the upper and lower bound, because now the price is going up. So it would be an ascending range. So that's the first one. And of course, again and again, this trend line is from weekly and daily. So it's acting as what? As an entire zone and not a laser line. Okay. So you should treat it as a zone. Again, this is the lower one. And this is, as you can see, the upper bound. So now NI225 is forming like what we call a rising broadening wedge. Okay. That's it. So the upper trend line acts as a non-horizontal resistance and the lower trend line acts as a non-horizontal support, obviously. So around the upper one, we'll be looking for sell setups. Around the lower one, what we're looking for? Correct, for buy setups. So now that's what we know from weekly. And as you can see, we already know many information just from weekly. So I doubt that we can add anything more from daily time frame. But anyway, we'll zoom in and see if we can add any more info from daily time frame. Well, as you can see, we couldn't add much. We already know that the price is currently sitting around here, and of course, this is also a round number, right? So because price is trading between 10, 20, and we also have the 30K. So let's draw it and let's check if the price already broke it or not. If we zoom in, we can see that the price didn't break it yet. And by break, I mean an aggressive bullish candle, because why? It's an entire zone and not, let me draw it, entire zone and not a laser level, just like here and like here. Okay, so the price is currently sitting where? Around the upper trend line. Look how clear things are getting just by drawing a couple of lines, right? So just 5 minutes ago, we had a blank chart. We had no idea what to look for. But look now, just by drawing the support resistance, round numbers, and trend lines, we've got an idea about the overall movement, or what I call, we've got a feeling about the market. Okay, so we can know that this is a very strong area to look for sell setups. Why? Because it's the intersection of the 30K and this upper trend line, which is also a non-horizontal resistance. That's why we were looking for sell setups around this area. And as price dives in and trade lower, the first rejection area would be where? Correct, would be around this previous resistance once, twice, and this one as well. Then price broke it upwards. So now our resistance turned into what? Into a potential support. So as price approaches it, we'll be looking forward, obviously, for buy setups, unless the price breaks it downward aggressively again with a big bullish candle. Then we can say that now this resistance turned support is now acting as resistance again, and we'll be looking for sell setups on 3 tasks. And then the next support would be where? Would be around this area, which is a very strong area, just like here, intersection of the lower red trend line, which is acting as a non-horizontal support, and the 20K, which is a very strong round number. So that's what we know from weekly, and that's why I told you I doubt that on daily we can add anything else, because we already know so much just from weekly time frame. But anyway, on daily time frame, if we can zoom in, we can identify the market structure. We can get a feeling about the market more just from a market structure perspective. So as you can see previously, this one was overall bullish, making higher highs and higher lows. So a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and so on. And the price failed to make a new high and instead made an equal high, which gives us an early alert that a potential reversal might happen, but nothing is confirmed yet. For the reversal, potential is to be confirmed, always use the word potential, because nothing is for sure. We are just risk managers trying to put the odds in our favor. Okay, so what really happened is, let me remove these ones. Sometimes I get overexcited. So the price was making all higher highs and higher lows, then made an equal high. That's the first alert, and then the sellers managed to break below the previous low. So now, after this break, now the potential reversal is confirmed, right? And then the bearish movement started. The price made a big impulse movement, pushing price to the downside. And then we had a higher low. Oops, made a higher low, right? And then price broke what? The previous high. Now we had a potential reversal. And starting from here, that's why I showed you the previous scenarios. Starting from here, we are now overall bullish. Higher low, higher low. And as you can see, since then, the sellers the sellers couldn't break below the previous low. So the buyers are still in full control. So higher low, higher low, higher low, and so on, and higher high as well. And then the price got stuck inside this range, but inside this range as well, the price was making equal highs, while the sellers are making what? Higher lows, which means that it's true that we are inside a range, but even inside this range, the buyers are in control because they are able to push price higher, while the sellers aren't able to push price lower. So even though, again and again, even though we are inside a range, the buyers were still in control. That's why we can speculate that the break of this range would be to the upper side, because clearly the buyers are still in control. And then we had, but of course, the break or the continuation in this case would be confirmed when we have an aggressive break above the upper range. And then anyway, inside this range or not, the buyers are still in full control. As you can see, we didn't have a close below the previous low. Again and again, we were bullish, right? Low, until just like what happened here. And that's why I showed you this example. That's it. So the price was making higher highs again. Then the buyers failed to make a higher high and instead made a lower high, which means that the buyers aren't strong enough to push the price as they were pushing before, and instead made a lower high, so they are tired. But that doesn't mean that the sellers took control yet, right? This is the previous low, which is not broken yet. This was the previous low. Then we had this previous low, which is the newest low, and then this. Around here, the sellers confirmed that they are now in full control. And as you can clearly see, and anyway, the patterns are what? Are simply simply market structure, right? From a market structure perspective, the patterns are simply, if you understand market structure, you don't even need to remember the name of a pattern. For example, this is a descending triangle, right? So you just get a feeling about the market, and you can clearly see that here, that even though we are inside a range in the form of a descending triangle again, but what we can clearly see that we have equal lows, but we have lower highs, which means that even though we are inside a range and not in a trending market, the sellers are in control here, right? That's why, as per the textbook, the descending triangle is a bearish pattern. And of course, at the textbook, it is a what? It is a trend following, a continuation bearish pattern. But here it happens to be that it's after a bullish trend. But anyway, don't really think much about the patterns and in terms of a trend. Just when you see a pattern, try to understand the market structure behind it. And it's very, very obvious that even though we don't know the pattern itself, we have lower highs, we have equal lows, means the sellers are pushing down and down. However, they couldn't push any lower than this, but finally, we know that they are in control, and finally, the price broke it downward. And of course, even though we have a descending triangle, the price can still break the range upward, right? So trading isn't predictive. Always wait for the market to make the first move, and then react to the market. So don't try to sell here, for example, right? Always wait for the break, for the confirmation, and then you can enter a sell. So that's what we know. And it happens to be also, which adds more strength and more confidence, and it makes more sense that this happened, because why? It is around what? The non-horizontal resistance and the 30K, right? So now if we zoom into H4, we can see the pattern even clearer, and we can see the swings even clearer, right? So low, low, again, and then here we have the equal lows. So that's it, right? 1, 2, 3. This is a valid trend line, and we also have this one, or you can also go for this one. It doesn't really matter. We care about this one, the lower one. And let's make it, since we have the red here, let's make this one in green. Let's do it. That's it. And the sellers took control, and we could enter a sell when what? When we have a momentum candle below this area. So our sell entry, we're actually holding a sell now. And yes, it's from H4, so it depends on your trading style if you'd like to enter trades on H4 or not. So anyway, you can apply the same techniques on any time frame, any instruments. As you can see from the previous 6 videos, we've done forex pairs, we've done indices, crypto, and so on, and even stocks. So here we go. Our stop loss is above the last swing high because we're entering a sell, obviously. And we target a 2-to-1 ratio, which happens to be what? Happens to be around the 25K, which is also what? From weekly time frame, it's a support. It was a resistance, now turned into a support. So as price approaches this area, we'll be looking for buy setups. And of course, for those who don't like to enter trades on H4 time frame, then if price retests this area, we can obviously look for sell setups on our time frames. So for example, let me remove this one for now. We can draw maybe like if we have a channel and it would be a big channel on M30, for example, you zoom in on the retest, you look for sell setups, and it would be what? A trend following. So we are bearish, and you are looking for trend following sell setups. So you would have a better entry. But of course, keep in mind that the price, the price doesn't retest most of the time. Okay, so keep in mind that 50% of the time the price would break and then continue trading lower immediately. Okay, so that's what we know for now. We are holding a sell. We are bearish over the long term, or if you want to call it from a medium term perspective. From a long term perspective, we are obviously very bullish. However, we are currently in a corrective phase, and that's why you can see a very big bearish trend maybe will come now, just like here. Right, so this, if you zoom into H4, you can see that this is a very big bearish trend. However, from a bigger picture, we can see that it's just a corrective, and after this impulse for the next impulse to start. Okay, so anyway, long story short, a quick recap. We were looking for sell because we had a 30K and the upper trend line. We zoomed in to get more extra confirmation. We entered sell. We are now overall bearish. If price retests this area, we can look for sell setups on lower time frames. If not, then we are holding our long-term sell. Or if you didn't sell, we are over. We are overall bearish now. And as price approaches this support, we'll be looking for buy setups on lower time frames. If broken downward, we'll be looking for sell setups here, and then we'll be looking for buy setups here. That's it for an I225. And of course, if you like the content, don't forget to smash the like button, and feel free to ask me anything in the comment section, or you can request a specific instrument that would you like me to go over next in the video number 8. Best of luck, and I'll see you soon.